Hi first grade, today is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. I got some of your videos yesterday talking about your Easter and your Easter break, and I loved seeing them. Okay, you guys can still send me some of those Easter videos if you would like. All right, let's get ready for our schedule for the day. Okay, we're gonna start with reading, and you do not need anything. Then we're going to move on to writing, and you need your Unit 11 writing packet. This is a new writing packet, okay? Then we're going to go to math, and you need your workbook that says 1A in the corner, and you're also going to need crayons, glue, and scissors for math, okay? Next, for science, what you're going to do is I'm going to show you our science experiment, the beginning of it, and you are going to make a prediction about what you think is going to happen. So you guys are, some of you already did this with the Easter video. You are going to take a video of yourself, your family's going to help you, and you're going to tell me what your prediction is. Now, if you can't take a video, that's okay. Your family can just type it in and send it to me, or do something else to let me know, okay? And then tomorrow, I'll put down the prediction that most of the people said, okay? And that will be our class prediction. And then we're gonna go to religion, and you do not need anything, okay? All right, guys, let's get started with reading, okay? Thank you for bringing me your listening ears. We are back, and we are ready to go. Okay, first grade, this week in reading and writing, we are starting a new unit, Unit 11. And we are going to be reading It's So Hot today, and we are going to be talking about all the contractions that are in the story and that you are going to be learning about this week. Remember that contractions are words that mean the same thing as the same two words, okay, but we combine them, and sometimes we get rid of one or more letters, okay? So for example, last week or last time we did contractions, we had words like didn't. And what two words make up didn't? Did not. Very good. We also had the contraction wasn't. What two words make up the contraction wasn't? Was and not. Very good. So today, let's look at our first line. These three contractions all have an apostrophe S at the end. Okay. So the first one says it's. Repeat after me. It's. Very good. And the two words that make up it's are it and is. All right. Next, repeat after me. She's. Good. And the two words that make up she's are she is. And finally, he's. Good. And the two words that make up he's, he is. Okay, so it's, she's, and he's all replace that I and is with an apostrophe. Okay, next we have these six, and they all have an apostrophe LL. All right, repeat after me. I'll. And the two words that mean I'll, I will. Next, it'll. The two words that make up it'll, it will. She'll. Yep, the two words, she will. He'll. He'll means the same thing as he will. You'll is made up of you will. We'll is made up of we will, okay? And now we have some ones that are all a little different. So remember to keep repeating after me. I'm. Good. And I'm is made up of the two words I am. Your is made up of the two words you are. We're is made up of the two words we are. Won't, we had this one before, won't means the same thing as will not. So this is a tricky one. Let's means the same thing as let us. Okay, and finally our story word is welcome. All right, let's get started on reading that fluency page. We are reading this today for 2 reasons. The first reason is to remind you how I would like to hear you all reading, and the second reason is when we get to writing, we need to have read this story in order to answer the questions. So the title ends in an exclamation mark, and we also start with a contraction, it's. What 2 words make up it's? It is. So this says, it's so hot. All right, which means the same thing as it is so hot. What does that mean if someone says something is so hot? They mean it's really hot, but they also mean it's too hot for me, right? If you're eating something from the oven or from the microwave and you say it's so hot, that means it's too hot for you to put in your mouth right now. Okay, so the super kids are too hot right now. They're feeling too hot, so they have to make a change. Okay, so the first line says, it's so hot, I'm melting. And who's saying that? Good. And what do you notice about each time we see someone saying something? The super kid changes very often because, like I said yesterday, it's a play. And when we have a play, they tell us who is going to be saying what. All right? And this play actually has 13 parts altogether. So 13 different super kids are going to be saying something at some point. Now let's go back to him. When we're reading, tell me what's the best way to read this first line. Okay, how about this way? It's so hot, I'm melting. How was that? What was wrong with the way I talked? I talked very softly, and I also did not talk very clearly. That's called mumbling. Okay, how about this way? It's so hot, I'm melting. How was that? I screamed. That was way too loud. Okay, how about this way? It's so hot, I'm melting. Yeah, that's the way that we are going to want to read. Not too quiet, not too loud. We want to read clear, and we want to read as if we were really talking, because these super kids are really talking to each other. Okay, so you can just listen to me because you are going to be practicing this every night for the rest of the week, okay? So I want you to listen to me so that way you can know how to practice tonight along with all the help that your families are giving you too, okay? Here we go. We're melting too. Look at Golly. He's panting. What does panting mean? Yeah, that's how dogs show us that they're sweating and they're really hot. I have good news. My mom said she'll drive us to the beach. Yay! What a mom! She's fantastic. My dad said he'll pack a picnic for us. Way to go, Doc's dad. Thanks for asking your mom to take us, Doc. You're welcome. Okay, before we go to the next page, why are they showing 2 faces here? Because they're both saying it at the same time. We're melting too. When someone says we, that means me and another, or me plus others. Okay, so Tick and Tock are both melting. Are they really melting? No, they're just very hot. Okay. Also, there was a lot of contractions on this page. Can you spot any? Ooh, I heard somebody say she'll, which means she will. Very good. Do you see any more? Yep, it's, it is. Any more? We're, which means the same thing as we are. Good job. Do you see any more? Oh, I heard someone. She's. What does that mean? She is. She's fantastic. Means the same thing as she is fantastic. Uh-oh, I think I hear somebody else saying another one. He'll means the same thing as he will. I think that's it. Oh, I hear somebody saying one more. Right at the bottom. You're welcome. This your means the same thing as you are. So far, we know the Super Kids are very hot. They're too hot, in fact. And Doc said her mom will drive them to the beach and her dad will pack them a picnic, and they are very happy about that. Let's see what happens next. The beach has a big lake. We'll go swimming. It'll feel good to get wet. I'll be the first one to jump in the lake. No, you won't. You'll have to beat me to be first. Let's go. Okay. All right, first grade, if you watched the video yesterday, you found out that I lost a lot of my videos. So we are going to be moving on to writing, and you need your Unit 11 writing packet. And I wrote on it already because I had written on it when I was filming for writing earlier, and then I lost the video, so we're going to do it again. Okay, so that's okay that there's writing on it, but I'm going to show it to you. So it looks like this without any writing. Okay, it says Unit 11, Lesson 1, Resource Page 1. It's so hot, so get this out, and then you're going to put your date on it and also your name. Okay, I'll stick my name on there too because later on I'm going to get this from you, okay? So you need your Unit 11 packet, put your name and your date, April 22nd, 2020, and then we are going to get started. So we just finished reading the fluency page, It's So Hot. And a good way to remember things that we have read is by answering questions about the story. An even better way to learn about something we have read is to write down the answers to those questions. So that's what we are going to be doing today. So put your finger on number 1, and this is going to be a question about It's So Hot that we are going to answer together. Here we go, read with me. What good news did Doc tell the kids? Think back to the story we just read. The Super Kids thought it was too hot and they needed to cool off, and Doc had some good news for them. And what was it? Yes, she is going to be able to take them to the beach because her mom is going to drive them. Why would they want to go to the beach when they are too hot? Yes, so that way they can cool off. The nice cold water will make them feel better. Any other good news? Some of you remember her dad, yes, is going to pack a picnic for them. So when we answer a question, this question is asking us about Doc, and they want to know, what did Doc tell the kids? So we need to say what Doc said. And in the story, it says, I have good news. My mom said she'll drive us to the beach. My dad said he'll pack a picnic for us. We cannot just copy all the words that Doc said, right? Because that's not our own words, that's her words. We have to put what she said in our own words. Okay, so what good news did Doc tell the kids? We're gonna start with Doc said, okay? So, uppercase D, Doc, finger space, said. And we're doing that because they want to know what Doc told them. So we're going to say Doc said. And what did she say? She said, my mom will drive us to the beach. But if we write that down, if we write down Doc said my mom will take us, my mom's not going to take us to the beach. My mom is not going to take the Super Kids to the beach. She doesn't even know where they live. We use the words my and I when we're talking about ourselves. But since we're talking about Doc, we need to use the word her because it's her mom and her dad, okay? So Doc said, her mom will, and what will her mom do? Take the kids to the beach. But is that the only person in Doc's family that has good news to share? No. Her dad is also going to do what? Pack a picnic. Okay, so Doc said her mom will take the kids to the beach and her dad will pack the kids a picnic. Okay, so you guys, oh, let me scoot this over a little bit. So you guys can actually write this same answer down because this is the one we're answering together. So what good news did Doc tell the kids? Doc said her mom will take the kids to the beach and her dad will pack the kids a picnic. So Doc's family is really helping out the Super Kids a lot today. Okay, so if you need to, you can pause the video so you can get this written down and then come back for number 2. Okay guys, we're back for number 2. Let's read it together. Put your finger on it. Here we go. What did Hot Rod say about the beach? Anybody remember what Hot Rod said about the beach? If you don't, that's okay. We have a strategy. We just look back at the text. So let's find Hot Rod. Okay, here he is. He says, the beach has a big lake. We'll go swimming. So can we write exactly what he said? The beach has a big lake. We'll go swimming. No, that's his words. We have to put it into our words. So just like with Doc, the question asked us, what did Hot Rod say? So we're going to start with Hot Rod said. Okay? Hot Rod said the beach has a big lake for swimming. And we put that in our own words, okay? We didn't say, Hot Rod said the beach has a big lake, we'll go swimming. Me and Hot Rod are not gonna go swimming. I can't say we'll go swimming. He's talking about the Super Kids going swimming. Hot Rod said the beach has a big lake for swimming. Okay guys, you can pause here if you need to copy it down nice and neat with finger spaces, uppercase letters for names, period at the end. And then when we get to number 3, you're gonna do it on your own, okay? So we're back for number 3. Let's read it together. How can you tell that Oswald wants to go swimming? Do you remember how we can tell? What did Oswald do or say? Let's check back. Where's Oswald? Here he is. He says, I'll be the first one to jump in the lake. So let's go back to our question. How can you tell that Oswald wants to go swimming? What does he say? He says he'll be the first one to jump in the lake. Why would he want to be the first one to jump in the lake? Because he wants to go swimming and he wants to cool off. So just like with numbers 1 and 2, they're asking us, what did Oswald say? What did the Super Kids say or do to let us know that they want to go swimming? So we're going to start with his name, just like we did with 1 and 2. How can you tell that Oswald wants to go swimming? Oswald, and you might write said, you might say what he said. What did he say about going into the lake? Yes, he wants to be the first one to swim. You might also write down that you can tell he wants to go swimming by looking at him. Okay, he's sweating. All right, and look at him down here. He's looking at Doc like he's really interested in what she has to say, okay? So you might say both of those things. You might say what he said and what he's doing. You might just pick one, okay? So this question you are gonna answer on your own. How can you tell that Oswald wants to go swimming? Oswald, what? Either said or is. Okay, all right, you guys, go ahead and do number 3. Great job listening. And once you're done, we are going to move on to math. So pause the video here, finish number 3, and then let's get ready for math. Okay, first grade, it's time for math, and today and this week, our math and our science kind of go together, okay? There's something that happens in math that we're also going to be doing in science, okay? So for right now, we're going to go over a few things in the book, and then we're going to get out your workbooks, okay? So right now, you just need to listen and watch. Okay, so that skill is using a start line. So I'm actually going to cover up down here. And let's read our learning goal together. Remember, when I say the students, you say us. The students will use a common starting point when comparing lengths. And today and during this week, you are going to see why that's so important. So this little boy is looking at the fishes and he says, which fish is longest? And he's not really sure. They're kind of scattered all over the place. Now he knows, and you know, it's probably not this one, right? That looks like the littlest fish. And you and him are probably thinking it's either the blue one or the green one because they look like they're the biggest. But it's kind of hard to tell for sure without having everything start at the same starting point. So that's where we get the start line from. So look what he did. Here's his start line. He has all the fish lined up. They're all starting at the same spot, and now he can tell which is the longest. And the blue one is longest by a nose. Okay, it has that little nose on there. And this little girl and you guys can easily see the blue fish is longest. So it's very important to put things at a start line so that way you can really tell for sure which is longer, which is shorter. Now, some of you are saying, Ms. Schwartz, I can tell which one's longest. I don't need to put them at a start line. So I'm going to show you an example. We are going to see which of these 3 pencils is longest. And I want you to notice they're brand new, okay? The erasers are new, never been used. Pencils have never been sharpened. They're brand new out of the package. So let's measure them. So I'll put this one here. And I'm going to put this one out here. And I'll put this one here. Wow, all right. Looks like this one is the longest, right? Look how far out it goes. It comes way out, way farther out than this one and this one. What do you think about that? This pencil's the longest. Is it really the longest? It ends at the farthest point. All right, well, let's see what happens when I put a common starting line. Okay, you guys, look at this. They're starting at the same start line, right? They're touching this white piece of paper. And look at that. Which one's the longest? They are all equal. So do you see how it is not fair if some of the items get to start farther up? Right? They don't line up right. So we need to start items at the same start line so that way we can tell the true length. All right. Okay, now that we have that cleared up, let's do one more page before we move on to our workbooks. Okay, let's look at these ribbons. Okay, let's say that this red ribbon belongs to Miss Bailey. Okay. And let's say that this blue ribbon belongs to Toby. And finally, let's say this brown ribbon belongs to Ethan. Okay, here we go. Ribbon A, Toby's ribbon. Which ribbon is longer than Toby's ribbon? Now, before you answer that, are they all starting at the same spot? Yes. So now we can really tell which ribbon is longer than Toby's. Ethan's ribbon is longer than Toby's. Okay, which ribbon is shorter than Toby's? Bailey's ribbon is shorter than Toby's. Very good. Let's move down to these buildings. Okay, these buildings are named. Letters P, Q, R, S, T. Are they all starting at the same spot? Yes, down on the ground. Okay, they have the same starting line. Which building is the tallest? Look all the way at the top. Yes, building P goes all the way up to the top of the sky. Which is the shortest building? Building R. Now, we need to look closely because the next question says, which building is as tall as building Q? Here's building Q. So let's zoom in down here. And here's building Q. So to see if there's a building as tall as it, we have to start at the top to see if they line up. So, yes. So building S and building Q line up. So building Q is as tall as building S. Okay, you guys, so here we are on page 235. Let's put our name and our date. All right, so go ahead and do that as I'm doing it too. April 22, 2020. Okay, so this is what you need your scissors and glue for, all right? So it says, cut out the caterpillars, paste them on the box in the order shown. Here are our 4 caterpillars. And when you cut them, they want you to glue them from longest to shortest, and you need to start at the start line. As you can see, I've cut out 2 of my caterpillars so far, and I just cut them around the dotted lines with the scissors. And remember what I said about the start line. Now, before you just glue, make sure you have all 4 cut out and you start with the longest down to the shortest. Now, once we cut these out, if you line them up very perfectly, the tails actually line up. But if you want, and if you think that you need it to be more accurate, you can actually cut it right at the tail. And you can cut them all right at the tail. So that way you can really make sure the edge of the caterpillar touches that start line. So remember to put them in order from longest to shortest and to glue and cut nice and neat. And when you're done with that, you are gonna flip the page to page 236. And on this page, you're actually gonna take a picture of it and send it to me on Dojo. So make sure you do your best on this page. So let's read the directions. So here's one pencil and it says, draw 2 more pencils. Color the longest pencil blue, color the shortest pencil green. So you need to use your pencil to draw 2 more pencils like it said, and you need a blue and a green crayon, but it also could be another kind of coloring supplies if you have it or if you'd like. So you're gonna have 3 pencils all together, all right? Not 2 pencils, 3 pencils all together. Longest is blue, shortest is green. It's possible that this one might be your longest or it might be your shortest. It depends on the size of pencils you draw. Make sure that the 2 you draw are different sizes because one has to be the longest and one has to be the shortest, so they can't all be the same. Okay? So remember, when you're done, take a picture of this, send it to me on Dojo. You do not have to send me a picture of the caterpillar page, but I do want you to do it, okay? All right, you guys, great job listening so far. Pause here to finish your math and then come back for science. So today in science, we are gonna do an experiment, and our experiment is going to last us until the end of the week. And because this video was supposed to come Monday, I got it started on Monday. So I'm gonna back up a little bit and show you what we've done so far. And then today's gonna be really exciting because we get to skip ahead to a step because you were supposed to see part of it Monday and then part of it today. But today we're gonna do 2 of those things since I started the experiment on Monday. Okay, so today's actually a really great day for science because you get to see 2 things. So our learning goal is to use scientific tools. So we are going to use 2 tools today. The first tool is, anyone know what this is? This is a measuring cup. This is for my kitchen. A lot of times in science you would use something that might be plastic, but sometimes you do use glass. Okay, so this is a measuring cup. And we are also going to use a tape measure. okay? And this is where the skill of using a start line comes in handy for math and for science today. So I'm gonna tell you guys what we were doing. So I went to Target about a month ago and I bought these two little Grow toys. Okay, they're Grow Chicks, they look like this. And what it says on the back is that if you put these Grow toys in a container with water and then you leave it on a shelf, they will grow, okay? So our experiment, I have two of them. Our experiment is going to be this. We are gonna put the same amount of water in two separate jars with two Grow toys that are the exact same size. But this tells you, the instructions tell you to leave it out on the shelf. We're gonna see if there's a difference between leaving the Grow toy in the water, in the jar, on the shelf, where it's kind of warm, okay, because it's just out, and putting a different Grow toy that's the same size, the same type, with the same amount of water in the same size jar in the refrigerator where it's cold. We're gonna see which one grows more, the one out on the shelf or the one in the refrigerator where it's cold. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how we are doing this. Okay, so like I said, I have two of these Grow toys, and because I already started the project on Monday and I had filmed it, but then I lost it, we sort of have to do a little bit of a mix-up today. Okay, so this is what happened. My two Grow toys are in the water already. So what I did was, in the package, there are these little plastic things that cover the Grow toy. So I cut that out. This is the exact same size, okay? I made it look like the chick, so that way you can see me again measuring. So like I said earlier, this is a tape measure. This particular one starts at this edge, which means 0, because here's 1, and this one goes all the way up to 60, okay? Because here's 59, and then there's a big gap to the little silver, which is 60. Now, we do not need all this room, right? This is sort of like a ruler, if you've ever seen that, but a tape measure usually is longer because a ruler is 12 inches, so a ruler only goes to here, okay? And a ruler is also hard, and it does not bend, but a tape measure is bendy. You can bend it all around. So we're gonna use this. And how do you think is the best way for me to measure this chick? Just right here? Okay, here it is. It's 5. Is that right? No. Just like in math, we need to start at the starting point. So we need to move it over to our start line, which is going to be the edge of this silver tape measure right at 0. And we need to make sure that our beak lines right up, okay, with that start line. So here we go. We're lined up really good. And we get to 1, and there's still more chick left. So look at the chick. It actually comes right to this long line right here in the middle. So between 1 and 2 is this long line, and that's halfway. So we're gonna call this 1 1/2. Okay? Now, in order to be scientists and show how the Grow chick grows over time, we have to do something called record. We have to record our information. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So when we do a science experiment, we have to start with the question of what we're trying to figure out. So our question is, will the chick grow more in cold water? Okay, because remember, we have two chicks. One is going to be sitting on the shelf out in the room, and one is going to be sitting in the refrigerator where it is cold. And before we can do our experiment, we need to make a prediction. We need to say what we think is going to happen, so that way when we do our experiment, we can test whether we were right or wrong. Okay, so this is where your video comes in that you're going to send in today. What is your prediction? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the chick will grow more in cold water? Or do you think the chick will grow more in the water that is left out? Okay? Either you think the chick will grow more in the cold water, or you think it will not grow as much in the cold water. Then we have to experiment. And I'm going to explain to you this chart. So we are testing the growth, the size of the grow chick on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I just showed you how I measured it, and that is really how I measured it on Monday. And remember that we said on the tape measure, the chick went to 1.5. So here's my graph. This bottom line is 0, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way at the top. So since the chick was 1.5, I filled in 1 whole square, and then half of the square going up to 2. And remember that I had 2 grow chicks. One is in cold water, that's where the C is, and one is in the water that's left out. And at the beginning, before I put them in the water, they were the same size. They're both 1.5, okay? So the cold water one is 1.5, and the warm water one, or the one that's left out, is 1.5. Now today, I'm gonna get those chicks out, and we are gonna use the same tape measure, and we are going to measure how long the cold water chick is and how long the other chick is. We're gonna see, did it grow like it said it would? And if it did grow, is the one in cold water the same, or is it higher or lower? Then we're gonna let it sit until Friday, and we're gonna do the same thing. And we're gonna see how much did it grow over time. And that's when we get to our results. This is the end of the experiment. Did the chick grow more in cold water? And we will be able to say yes, yes it did, or no, no it didn't, or it was the same. Before we take out these grow chicks, I'm going to show you how much water I put into the measuring cup and how we use it. So I put 2 cups of water in each jar. So I want you to look at my measuring cup and see there it says 2, right here, 2 cups. So I need to fill the water up to that red line, okay? And I'm gonna show you how scientists make sure that they have the exact amount of liquid they need. Okay, so here's my cup, my measuring cup, and it looks like it's right about at that 2. Now, scientists do not just look inside and go, oh, yeah, looks like it's at 2. Scientists actually, they kind of kneel on the ground and they make sure that their head, their face is at eye level. So that way, once the liquid stops moving, we can really see, is it right at the 2, or do we have to put in a little more or a little less? So if you can see how now we're at eye level, it actually looks like it's not quite up at that 2. Do you see that? Here's the 2. It's not quite at that red line. So what does that mean we need to do? We have to add a little bit more. Okay, so I added a little bit more water, and I'm gonna show you how it's right at that 2 when you see from my eye level. Okay, I'm gonna flip the camera around. Okay, so here's the line of water, and it comes right to that red line, right where we want it. And now I'm gonna pour this water in one jar, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the other jar, so that way they have the exact same amount of water. Here are the 2 jars. As you can see, the jars, they are exactly the same. And they have 2 cups of water in each. On Monday, I put in 2 cups. So they each have a little 2, and on Monday, it came right up to the 2. It came right perfectly up to the 2. It looks like it's a little different now, but that's okay because it's been a couple days. It has been exactly 2 days. So, if you notice, this grow chick has a C on it. Why do you think I have that? This was the one that was in the refrigerator in cold water. Right away, just by me feeling it, the one from cold water and the one on the shelf, they feel different, right? This one feels colder. This one also has some condensation, some of these little tiny bubbles that are inside the top of the jar. So I wonder what that means. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna move these jars over, and we are gonna take the chicks out, and we're gonna measure them to see if they have grown at all and if there's a difference in how much they've grown. Oh, I'm starting out with my cold chick. Okay, so I took the cap off, and this is a plate, and we're just gonna we're gonna use this slotted spoon. I know I talked about this with the eggs. We're gonna see, first of all, does it fit? It doesn't fit. Okay, that's okay. We're gonna see if the chick is still put together, because I don't want to take it out if it's just gonna crumble, right? So we're gonna kind of poke it. And seems a little delicate, but it seems like it also feels okay. So we're gonna take it out. I'm gonna lay it on this plate. This is the back of a plate, just so that it's flat. So that way we have a flat, good surface to measure with. I'm gonna stick this spoon in here, and I'm gonna try to carefully get it out and lay it on the plate, so that way we can measure it. Okay, you guys, so here is the cold water chick, and I have my tape measure here, and we are ready to measure, and we're gonna have to look very closely. Okay, so let's make sure it's lined up right. Okay, so my beak needs to be lined up right here. Okay, so now it looks like, remember that originally the grow chick was 1.5. And look that big tail has really moved past 1.5. So our cold water chick has definitely grown, but now I need to see just by how much. Okay, so here's this little tail, and it looks like this one kind of sticks out the most. And just by looking, it looks like that little tail goes right about to this second line after the 2. Okay, so it is 2 and a little more. Okay, so did our cold grow chick grow? It did. It was 1.5 before, and now it's 2 and a little more. So I kept the cold chick out, and I wrote down 2 and a little more, because we need to know that for when we fill in our chart. Here is the chick that was out on the shelf, and this one actually is just a slimy, but it actually feels a little bit more firm. So just by looking, does it look like one of them is bigger than the other? Let's take a look at the eyes. Look at the eye on this one and the eye on this one. Is one of them different? Yes, the warm water chick, the eye is bigger. Okay, and the beak. Let's look at the beak. Do the beaks look the same or different? This beak looks lighter, and it looks wider. Okay, so just by looking, does it look like one of them is bigger? Yeah, definitely. It looks like this one is bigger. Let's see if it is in fact bigger, and by how much. So we need our tape measure. And same thing, we're gonna line it up. Okay. Remember the last one was 2 and a little more. Okay, so my beak is lined up. And now we go to the tail. And the tail is right here at 2.5. Okay, it comes right to that long line between 2 and 3. So that's 2.5. Okay, so is one of them bigger than the other? 1.5. Yes, the warm water, the one left on the shelf, is bigger. So remember, our question was, will the chick grow more in cold water right here? And so far, has it? No, it hasn't grown more than the one out on the shelf. But could it? It could. We are going to see on Friday. So now it's time to fill in our chart. Okay, you guys. So remember that our question was, will the chick grow more in cold water? And you have already thought in your head what your prediction is, and maybe you already sent it to me. And so far, either your prediction is correct or not, but you won't really know until Friday, okay? So think about what your prediction is, think about what you said and what you know. And remember that the cold water chick today, Wednesday, was 2 and a little more. So we're going to color in 1, 2, and a little bit of the next one, because it's just and a little more. So we're going to color in this one Okay, and then this one for 1 and 2. And then remember it was and a little more. So we're just kind of gonna go boop. Just give it a little more. Now the warm water chick, or the one that was left out on the shelf, who remembers how long that one was? Yes, that one was 2 1/2. So we're gonna color in 1, 2 1/2 of this one. Okay, so here is 1, 2, and 2 1/2. Okay, so first things first, let's look at the graph. Did both chicks grow from Monday? Yes. Did one of them grow more than the other? Yes. Was it the cold water chick? No, the warm water chick grew more. But we're going to check again on Friday. And do you think that the warm water chick is going to keep growing? Or do you think it has already grown the most it could? Okay. How about the cold water chick? Do you think it is going to keep growing? Or do you think it's already grown as much as it can? Okay, well, we're going to check back on Friday and see. Remember to send me your prediction, okay? Because you've seen a little bit of what has happened so far, but we don't know yet. Okay? Let me know. The last thing we're going to do today is religion, and we have a special saint to talk about today. But before we do that, let's start with prayer. And we're going to do a special prayer that we get from her, the saint. Okay, so we're going to start with the sign of the cross. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And repeat after me. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Okay, we're going to say it 2 more times. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Okay, one more time. Holy God, Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Okay, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Okay, so that saint is Saint Faustina. This is a picture of her, okay? And she actually was alive 100 years ago, okay? So she is kind of a newer saint. Because she is so new, she's actually not in here, okay? She's not in here. So we are going to learn about her in another way. So like I said, this is her. And Saint Faustina was a really special saint. So if you notice what she's wearing, she is wearing what's called a habit, okay? And that means that she was a religious sister. So she and other women who really loved Jesus, they were called, Jesus asked them to do something special with their life. So what they did is they became a religious sister. So they lived in the same home, and they wore similar outfits, and they would pray together, and they would eat together, and they would play games together, and they lived in the same place, and it was called a convent, okay? They lived in their own community, all right? And while she was there, something really special happened to her. She started to hear Jesus talk to her directly. Somebody asked her to write down everything that Jesus said to her and everything she said back. And she did that. And she wrote it all down in what is called a diary or a journal. And some of you bought a diary or a journal at the book fair. And so usually in a diary, people write the date and they write about something that's happened to them. So if I or you had a diary, we might write, today I had a great day. We got to make s'mores and my friend came over and I had a really good time. Or you might write something different. Her diary was the things that Jesus said to her and that she said back. So here it is. Here's a copy. Okay, the diary you can buy at any bookstore or online. Sometimes it's in a red book. Sometimes it's in a book that's leather. Okay, and God talked to her about something really special called His mercy. Do you know what mercy is? Mercy is when you forgive somebody and are really nice about it and you're not mad at them and you're just really happy that they said sorry and you forgive them and you love them even more than ever. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you're on the playground and someone you know pushes you on the ground and you're hurt. You might have a cut or a scrape. You might be bleeding. You might have a bruise. And then that person comes over and they say, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I did that. And you're in a lot of pain and you're kind of mad, right? But you say, and you really mean it, I forgive you, or it's okay. That was you giving mercy, just like Jesus does, okay? And he told St. Faustina all about his mercy and how he wants to give it to everybody who says, God, Jesus, I'm really sorry I did something you didn't like. I didn't listen to my parents, or I watched too much TV today before I even prayed, right? And if we're really sorry, he wants to give us his mercy and say, it's okay, I'm so glad you told me, I love you so much. And he has this really special image or picture that lets us know about his mercy. Okay, so this is it. And it says, Jesus, I trust in you at the bottom. And you can see some blue and red kind of coming out of his heart. And that is like all his mercy that he wants to give. There's just so much. He just can't wait to give it to us. If we do something wrong, he just can't wait. And another thing about his mercy is, remember how I told you we can't go to heaven without him? That's another part of his mercy. He just wants all of us to go to heaven, right? He really wants that for us. So he has so much love to give us, and we just have to find it and look for it, okay? So St. Faustina really spread that message to us, okay? Like I said, her diary, she wrote so much of what Jesus said to her and what she said back, and now the whole world can read it, okay? The whole world can see what was Jesus' special message for her and for us. Okay, and I'm going to read you something that Jesus said to her. Okay, so this is her diary. She said that one day she told God that she was having a really hard time because she wasn't that strong, okay? And where she lived, one of her jobs was to help clean the kitchen and move a lot of big, heavy pots and pans. And she said, God, I can't do it. They're just really heavy. And then he answered, and she wrote down his answer, and he said, from today on, you will do this easily. I will strengthen you. Okay, so she told God, God, I can't do something. I need help. And he gave her help. He gave her mercy in that way too. She needed something she didn't have, and he said, okay, you can have it. I'll give it to you. I'm so glad you asked. I have so much more to give you, right? So St. Faustina is just really neat because she had a really, really special relationship with God, and we can read all about it if we want to in her diary, and we can learn so much about the love and mercy Jesus has for us. Okay, so that's our saint for the day, St. Faustina. And like I said, she teaches us so much about how much Jesus loves us and wants to give us mercy and forgive us, and that he will help us with anything that we ask him to. Okay? All right, you guys, the last thing is your homework. Remember to read your fluency page. It's so hot. Okay? And bubble it in for Wednesday, and then work on your spelling words on the back. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.